You are listening to the Postcast, presented by the Locked On Senators podcast and the Glebe Central Pub. Make sure you check out the Glebe Central Pub at 779 Bank Street, and the Send Shuttle for $17 gets you to and from the CTC. Chili's Bees is in the chat and on the GCP bus right now. What an awesome game. A blast from the past. Lyndon Slewage sings the national anthem. Jacques Martin gets the win. And the win puts Jacques Martin into sole possession of 20th all-time for most wins by a National Hockey League coach. The score 6-2. Sens beat the Habs for the 7th straight game. I'm Ross Levitan alongside Brandon Piller. Pilsy, when did you know this was just going to be an ass-kicking?
I mean, pretty early on, actually, Ross. And like you mentioned, 7 straight wins up against the Montreal Canadiens. Yes, Joshua, we're getting positive Pilsy here. It's nice. You know, it's terrible the way the Sens season is going. And Habs fans, if you're watching, yes, we know where we are in the standings.
Bonjour.
But it's just really nice to know some things don't change. And the Senators will continue to beat up on the Montreal Canadiens. It feels good. It's that warm, fuzzy feeling that all is right in the world. But for at least this little moment. Yes.
Could happen on Tuesday again. These two teams will meet. Ottawa's got a pair of tough games in between now and them, at home to the Winnipeg Jets on Saturday, at Philadelphia on Sunday. We expect Shane Pinto back for that game Sunday, and then they'll head to La Belle Provence and hope to make it 8 straight against this goofy team. This team full of goofs, led by Brendan Gallagher, who at 5'1" said, oh, now I'm going to go after the 22-year-old kid and try to be a hero, a tough guy. And it was amazing, too, on the way to the penalty box. I'm not going to say word for word what Tim Stützle said, but basically, take a look at the scoreboard, fella.
Yeah, like as if you're going to bait Timmy into something there. And just enough with the theatrics about Brendan Gallagher going up against Timmy. Like, we don't need to see that from Brendan Gallagher, especially when this game is way out of reach. So good on Timmy, just not getting too out of hand there, keeping us cool, because Gallagher definitely, that's a guy that we know those two have some history.
Well, the history is written from years and years, but tonight it was the shoe on the other foot. The, hey, why don't I look myself in the mirror? Brendan Gallagher was tripping over everything. I don't know if he didn't get his skate sharpened on the second half of back-to-back or what the deal was. He was falling all over the place, and it ultimately led to the highlight of the night, which was Tim Stützle dancing into the zone, jumping across the ice, and then having the wherewithal for a little backhand how are you onto the stick of Matthew Joseph, who made no mistake. It was one of 2 assists for Stützle, and he gets a goal, his first goal since December 23rd, that OT winner against Pittsburgh. Timmy Superstar is all the way back after tonight's performance.
He needed a game like this, Ross. Like the game up against the San Jose Sharks, sure, you get 4 assists, you love that, but it didn't feel like Timmy had arrived back on the scene. When he scores that first goal, Ross, well, his only goal, but the first point of the night, where he sees Joseph hustling and he's like, yeah, that's an option, but you know what? I'm going to look off the pass. I got my target on high blocker side, and boom, he snipes at top cheese. Like, that was a confident goal from Tim Stutzle that we needed to see him score, because I feel like, Ross, in the past, in the recent games, Timmy would have forced that pass, or he would have shot that one high and wide, but he rips it, and you could tell Timmy was feeling himself after that one, and he continued to have success the rest of the night with a bunch of great moves. The assist you mentioned, but then also you take a look at that drop pass he had for Brady, hits him in stride. Brady sends it over to Tarasenko, and boom, you got a nice goal. Tic-tac Tarasenko, Ross. That's how that play went.
It was beautiful. Alfie loves it as well. Just an awesome effort from so many guys. And I thought after the first period that this was going to be a, classic Senators loss where they outshot the Habs 17-5 in the first period. At one point, it was 3 shots for the Habs, 2 posts for the Habs, and 1 goal for Montreal. I said, Oh my goodness. Here we go again. Didn't love the goal against Korpisalo, but he dialed it in. And he also started this game with a huge save. Too many times this year, Ottawa's goalies allowed the first shot, that full-fledged breakaway where it was a complete meltdown in terms of not picking up the coverage, and he just came in all alone. Strong right pad save. So he set the tone with this one and allowed Ottawa to go down and get a 1-0 lead, which, I mean, the book was out on Caden Primo. Shoot blocker side. Brady Tkachuk ripped it right through him. And then on a 2-on-1, Tim Stützle kept and went the exact same spot. So those two goals, bang, bang, they weren't right one after another, but getting a 2-0 lead like that kind of allows some confidence to come into this fragile team.
Yeah, and you mentioned it, Ross. That save from Korpisalo was huge because that was a nice move. Who was that? Matheson? Yeah, I think it was Matheson on the breakaway. Like
Matheson, we'll get to him, dude. That guy ate the glass.
Yeah, big time. And then that ultimately led to a goal against. But Korpisalo does a really good job of staying patient with that play, not diving or not biting on that wide deke, and he gets the pad out and that stops it. And those are the kinds of saves that you need Korpisalo to make, especially because this was one of those games, like you mentioned, Ross, not a lot of shots from the Habs early on. We've seen Forsberg and Korpisalo, both these guys struggle when they don't get lots of shots throughout the start of the game. But for the most part, sure, you love him to get his glove fully on that Caulfield goal. And the later goal, I don't know, I'm not too upset about that one. But overall, this is a good game for Korpisalo, who put him in the book of guys that also needed to have a bounce back win here to boost his morale going forward, because he's going to be relied upon a lot with Forsberg out for a while here, the foreseeable future. Sorry.
It was very unfortunate. Let's talk about that goal, the Brady Tkachuk goal that started this. Ridley Gregg gets an assist. He continues to produce points at this juncture of the season. But man, oh man, what a shift from the captain. He goes in, and I'm glad that they let them play on. I think some refs this year would have called that 2 minutes for boarding. Matheson turns at the very last second. He knows that hit is coming. You know that it's Brady Tkachuk. There's an art to taking a hit. And then there's whatever the heck Matheson did there. He didn't like it. He gets up, and he almost should get a third assist on this goal, because by keeping Brady tight to him and kind of like pulling him back, Brady was cherry picking and still at the offensive blue line when the play went the other way. Slavkovsky, I think it was, rings the crossbar down the ice, and away they go. And Brady Tkachuk makes no mistake. So the back and forth on that play was pretty unreal. And then Brady just making no mistake. And man, when the Ottawa's best players are their best players, the team's good. It's just they haven't been that too many times this year. So love to see that tonight. And just all around, some great performances. We got lots of Sen Central standouts to get to in this one. But moving on to that second period, Rourke Chartier gets rewarded. The Sens 2-0 when Rourke Chartier scores a goal this year. The other one,
when Lyndon Sluage sings the national anthem. Got to bring that guy back around more often.
They should just have Lyndon Sluage there all the time.
Even not on game days, just like have him be there.
Our guy, Michael Madden, tweeted out, he said, "I'm Australian and I still like get chills watching that guy sing." He's soulful, man.
He's an incredible entertainer, and he's good at what he does. There's no denying that.
Unreal. His little wink salute and blow a kiss is just unreal. And Rourke Chartier's goal was just all effort, right? Like it's being cycled around. And we should say though, on the Caulfield goal, you got to have a better presence along the boards if you're JBD.
Yeah, that's a tough one. He gets his pocket picked by Monahan, and especially you got to have the awareness to be like, I'm a third pair defenseman, and right now some of the top guys are on the ice here as Monahan picks his pocket and slides over to Caulfield. You got to have a little bit more awareness in your own end with the puck there. But, I mean, that's a guy coming back. He's been a healthy scratch for a bit, so he's got to shake the rust off a little. So, all right.
You know who doesn't need to shake the rust off is Lyndon Sluage. That guy just comes in dialed. And at Meth's fingertip, great handle. I'm sure Meth would love that one. He said he would have bought tickets and canceled his plans tonight if he knew Lyndon Sluage was singing the anthem.
Honestly, they need to make it more known. That's appointment viewing.
That's box office viewing for Lyndon Sluage. But this Ottawa Senators team was box office tonight. They were highlight reel goals. They dominated the play. After 2 periods, the shots were 30-17. They end off 37-23 in favor of the Ottawa Senators. And this one, it was 2-1, sure, after the first period. But once Rourke Chartier
Didn't
scored
feel
that
that
goal,
way though, Ross.
once Chartier scored, I was like, okay, I'm really feeling good up too. You know, the Habs aren't really the most offensively gifted team unless Ottawa kind of, you know, lets them back into it, which they've been known to do this year at times.
Oh, yeah.
Then they should be good. But when that tic-tac Tarasenko goal went in and it was the two guys who passed them the puck, Brady and Timmy, that's when I knew there was no chance that the Habs were coming in. And then the third period came around and they went full Globetrotter status with that Timmy assist on the Matthew Joseph goal.
Yeah, and you could just tell the difference in this game, Ross. This was a game the Ottawa Senators were not letting up. Like, you even have a nice disallowed goal in there, goaltender interference. That one's iffy for me, but it doesn't really matter in the end. But this Ottawa Senators team saw an opportunity to finally close out a game on a team that was getting tired, not able to keep up, and they went for it. And they got timely saves from Korpisalo. So that's the recipe to success. I know it's similar to the San Jose Sharks team. I know it's the San Jose Sharks. I know it's the Montreal Canadiens, not the top echelon of teams, but you got to be able to close teams out when you have the opportunity, especially for the good fans at the CTC.
And for some reason, the Habs decided to pull their goalie with like 6 minutes left.
Mickey Mouse stuff. I was like, what is going on here? Like, that's when if you're the Ottawa Senators, Ross, I mentioned in today's podcast, it's cookie night. Get your cookies. If you see them pull the goalie down, 5-1 with 8.5 minutes left, you're like, ooh, I'm going to stuff my stat sheet tonight. And Parker Kelly, that's nice that he got the goal, Ross, because then he can kind of be like, look, I know, boys, I know I got the disallowed goal for goalie interference, but don't worry, I got one back later on.
Yeah, and that's hilarious too. They chose to do it when it was 4-on-4 because you think if there's more ice, it was when Gallagher and Stützle were off. So it's like, don't you want more ice? I would have thrown out Suzuki and Caulfield, and then maybe once they go back to 5-on-5, try to at least then you're at 6-on-5 and you can clog up and create more havoc in the corner. At 5-on-4, there's so much space on the ice that Ottawa was just able to pass into open areas, and ultimately Parker Kelly gets the goal off a nice little play too from Jake Sanderson, who gets the assist. Yeah, not often you see an empty netter with over 7.5 minutes left in the game, making it 6-1, and then just a bad turnover from Thomas Chabot. I actually liked his game otherwise, but just a bad turnover right in the slot, and Pezzetta puts it away. So that's the goal scoring in this game. Since we're talking about Pezzetta, can we talk about the peacocking between Pezzetta and Zach McEwen at center ice? They looked like they were going to go full Trouba versus Tkachuk, but they forgot about the whole actual fighting aspect of it. And McEwen kind of tripped into him as he came in for the first punch. It was just all show, no dough in that fight.
Yeah, Ross, that was kind of like you mentioned, UFC night. Trouba and Brady are the main event. These guys are like the 6:30 p.m. openers. Like the hot dog vendors are just getting set up. Like no one's really around. Like that was not good, and that was a tough showing for Zach McEwen. I've liked Zach McEwen more as of late, but he's got that Austin Watson-esque where he's a willing combatant, but doesn't always come on the right side of the scorecard on that one.
Sens come on the right side of the scorecard tonight. The score 6-2 in favor of the Ottawa Senators. They get their second win of the 2024 calendar year, and they're still in last place in the Eastern Conference. It's going to be a long haul to get out of there. However, beating the Habs does make it feel a little bit sweeter. And look, Ottawa's got 5 games in hand on Montreal, and their goal differential is minus, math guy, 10, 20, minus 19. So they're 19 goals better in the plus minus category than the Montreal Canadiens. So 3 more head-to-head. So at least the Sens have that, and they've also got a 7-game winning streak. We've got some notes in the chat, too. Zub, 5 assists in his last 3 games.
Game for Zub.
Great game for Zub. Great game for a lot of players. We'll get to our Sens Central standouts. We're also going to hear from Jacques Martin if and when that media is posted available to us before the end of the postcast. We've got a great episode planned for you tomorrow as well on Locked On Senators. We've got Monica de Oliveira joining us as well. Talk a little PWHL with her, and also got a weekend preview with back-to-back games And we're getting very close. 72 hours now before Shane Pinto can return to the lineup. Where's the contract, though?
Lost in the mail? I don't know.
We've got to get to that. And also, Michael Anlauer was on RDS tonight, and some of his comments caused a stir on social media. So we'll have all those conversations. But I want to tell you that the Postcast is brought to you by the Glebe Central Pub. We've got people in the chat right now who were at the Glebe Central Pub. I love that. It is the bar of Locked On Senators. If you go there, you're a friend. And when you go there, make sure you let them know that Locked On Senators sent you. They've got great food. They've got great drinks. I love about the atmosphere, too, at the Glebe Central Pub is that they always have something going on. The dartboard is there for your entertainment. They've got live music sometimes. They've also got different events, and you can always go check them out, Glebe Central Pub, online on their website, glebecentralpub.com, and that's where you can buy tickets for the Senator Shuttle. The full list of games is available there. You can also buy your tickets right through the website. So you show up, you tell your server, hey, I'm on the shuttle. They give you the wristband, and away you go for a great night of food, drinks, and fun at the Glebe Central Pub. So check them out today. Glebe Central Pub, they're at 779 Bank Street, right in the heart of the Glebe. So PWHL Ottawa fans, 2 games next week, Tuesday and Wednesday. If you're going down to TD Place, make sure you stop by the Glebe Central Pub. Check them out, 779 Bank Street. The vibes are free at the GCP.
Ooh, love it. Love the GCP. And we also love our friends over at Indeed. Guys, Indeed is the hiring platform that you use to attract, interview, and hire all in one simple place. Don't spend hours on multiple job sites looking for candidates. Do it all with ease with Indeed. Candidates you invite to apply through Instant Match are 3 times more likely to apply to your job than candidates who only see it in the search. So Instant Match is the way to go. Indeed does the hard work for you. Kick back, sponsor a job, and boom, Instant Match will get it done quickly. Join over 3 million businesses worldwide using Indeed to hire great talent fast. Indeed knows when you're growing your own business, you have to make every dollar count. That's why with Indeed, you only pay for quality applications that match your must-have job requirements. Visit Indeed.com/lockedon to start hiring now. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon. Terms and conditions apply. Cost per application pricing not available for everyone. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
Ole, 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 ole. Ole, ole. Beat the traffic. What a night at the CTC. Senators win 6-2 over Les Canadiens de Montreal. The helmet belongs to Tim Stützle.
Yep.
Who's he handing it off to? Is he going to do a little Spider-Man meme? I give it to you. It's actually me. He was unreal tonight. You know what I want to see for the vibes tonight? We said there hasn't been as many moments this year. Brady Tkachuk and Tim Stützle, the bromance, we need to get it back. Don't think we didn't notice that Brady was standing up for Timmy, giving it to Brendan Gallagher in that situation late in the third period. I need Tim Stützle to give the helmet to Brady Tkachuk.
Yep, you nailed it, Ross. So you got to go for the emotional connections. I do think Timmy is going to pass that off to Brady. I don't want to say as a peace offering, but as like a, hey, let's keep this good chemistry going here. Probably the performance-wise guy I would maybe give it to. I would take a look at Zub in that aspect, or Sanderson. He had a nice game as well, but I'm with you, Ross. I want to see Timmy pass that over to Brady.
It has to happen. Let us know in the chat who else deserves the fire helmet tonight. It was a game where the Ottawa Senators just beat them down. It was just an ass kicking. Call it what it is. And I don't want to hear that the Habs are on the second half of back-to-back. Colorado Avalanche were too. We saw how that one went. But no, overall, just a great effort tonight from the Ottawa Senators. Would you like to lead us off with your Sen Central standout presented by the Glebe Central Pub?
If you're passing it over to me, yes, I would love to lead us off because we already kind of got into it, but it bears repeating. This might have been Tim Stutzle's best game all season. And that emphatic, confident goal that he scored to get things started. Then you've got that beautiful drop pass assist to Brady, and then Brady sends it over to Tarasenko. And then the highlight of the night, him dancing through the Habs players in the offensive zone. Little sidestep sauce to himself, and then a quick pass to Joseph, and Joseph buries it. That's the kind of get out of your seat hockey excitement. And that's the ability that Tim Stützle has, the dynamic ability that he has, that especially at home in front of the Sens fans, faithful. It was great to see this again. And you could tell right again when he's doing the after the game at the bench interview with hashtag friend of the show, Claire Hanna. He's having a good time. He's vibing. And his very first answer is, it's great to see Montreal Canadiens fans leave here early. Like, one of us, Timmy, he gets it. So these are the games, Ross. You can't do this every game, but we need to see more of these sprinkled throughout Timmy's season here.
Pilsy, we're going to play that for you right now because it's the postcast. Why wouldn't we?
Dominant win against the Montreal Canadiens. How does it feel?
Yeah, it feels unbelievable. Seen a lot of Montreal fans leave there. It was great. So we love playing for our fans, and I think the team did a great job there.
That's Tim Stützle, Senators superstar. And what a perfect way to wrap up the night.
Yeah, and he deserves this. Like, he's got to get going. It's taken him a while here, but I think now that he's got a bit of confidence, now he kind of understands the style of game. Probably Jacques Martin is looking for a little bit more now that he's gotten used to it. And he can still get his points. He can still have his offensive flair. So I think we're going to see Tim Stützle really ramp things up here now, Ross.
When Tim Stützle smiles, we smile on Locked On Senators. And however much you might dislike Habs fans that come like cockroaches into the Canadian Tire Center and they just spend their money and they chirp and they whine, and I bet you all of their seats are just covered with popcorn on the floor. They're just living like animals in the away building.
Putting the nachos under the urinals while they're using them.
Legitimately. That's what we're up against. But you know what? That's 7 straight wins for Ottawa against Montreal, a handful of them in the CTC. So spend your money, take the L, and away you go, back on the highway to La Belle Provence. So just a great night overall for the Ottawa Senators. And look, you need these little victories at times where it's not great in Sensland. It's not great overall, but when the vibes can, every win, it makes you think, hey, what if they do this like 12 more times in a row? They won't be in last place. Tell you that much.
Well, Ross, the Edmonton Oilers are on an 11-game winning streak, so it's possible. And don't forget, Claude Giroux said, hey, I feel like if we just put the pieces together, we string along 10 wins here, we're right back in this thing.
So you've got Tim Stützle as your first Sen Central standout presented by the Glebe Central Pub. I think we can snap it around twice, don't you think?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with Brady Tkachuk. Easy answer, but I'm going with Brady Tkachuk for my first Sen Central standout. I thought he was carrying the play. He was leading in his own way, as we know he likes to do, with physicality early. Had a couple big hits leading into that Matheson chance. 6 shots on goal, 4 hits, played 17-28, so not even the most for him in a game, and he gets a goal, an assist, and just all over it. I don't know if you know this, Pilsy, but the Habs actually had the draft pick before Brady Tkachuk went 4th overall, and they decided...
It must have got someone really good, though.
No. They actually didn't. No. If you can believe it.
Oh, but he's still playing for the Habs and having success.
Nope.
But the guy, the
let him
pieces
go
they
for
got
a first-round pick
are really good.
Yeah. Nope. They actually trade him for a first-round pick, so they're like, you know what? Let's try again. And then they traded that first-round pick for Christian Dvorak, who's injured and not in the lineup.
But, I mean, that's 3rd overall, Ross. If you had the 1st overall pick, you're probably getting a superstar.
Wait, did Slavkovsky play? Oh, he did. -3. No points. 20 minutes.
He was my lookout player. I didn't notice him.
He did rip the crossbar in the first period.
Was that him or Monahan?
No, it was him.
It was him.
Yeah. Nick Suzuki, the captain of this ship.
Missed shots as highlights?
He had no shots on goal.
Yeah.
1 shot off the post. Nick Suzuki also -3 in this game. Brady Tkachuk's my first Sen Central standout in this game. And that line, I just love that line with Greg and Giroux. It's so much fun to watch. They bring so much to the table. So that's going to be mine. Do you want to do snake style, or do you want to snap it back again?
We could do snake style. I got 2 players left in the chamber here, so you take whoever you want.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go maybe I don't know if this is the most popular direction, but that's okay. This is who stood out for me, and the numbers which suggest he also had a great game. I'm going with Parker Kelly. Goal and an assist.
Okay.
Pilsy. He played 17 minutes in tonight's game.
Yeah, Jacques Martin loves Parker Kelly.
I mean,
and rightfully so. He's played good.
Parker Kelly or Dominic Kubalik, who are you going to put out there?
Yeah, I'll take Parker Kelly.
Right? That line of Parker Kelly with Rourke Chartier and Vladimir Tarasenko tonight played 7 minutes and 40 seconds. They were on an ice for a goal for, and they doubled their opponent in shot attempts for 15-4, only 7 against. So to me, this was just a great effort from them in terms of, expected goals, all the advanced stats, and then, just the sandpaper of Parker Kelly mixing it up early in this game as well. So I thought like 24 shifts. I mean, that probably has to be near a career high for Parker Kelly, but I loved his game tonight. And if he can play that rat style a little bit more consistently, man, he's going to be just fine.
Yep. I like it, Ross. Parker Kelly has looked great lately. And these are the types of opponents, Ross, that you want Parker Kelly to get up for, like get out there, bang bodies, try to agitate. And he ends up getting an empty net goal as well. Now, obviously, you'd wish that goaltender interference play didn't happen, but he makes up for it, so it's all good. Is our guy Hot Lunch here for that? He loves a good Parker Kelly sensational standout.
People asking how long Rourke Chartier played, just under 12 minutes, that threshold. So we're changing the stat now to when he scores 2-0.
There we go.
Let's do 3. Can we do 3?
Sure, I'll take a look at some other guys, but I definitely have my next one lined up here because, again, I thought Artem Zub had a great game. He's been playing really good as of late, and really, Ross, like he would have had an assist on that disallowed goal. He was a nice part of that play as well, and he ends up with 2 assists on the night, plus 2, 22 minutes and 9 seconds, but it was his Corsi numbers that were really good tonight. Just looking through here. So him and Jake Sanderson, like we've always known, these guys play so well together. They had almost 15 minutes together, 68.29 Corsi for percentage. Like him and Sanderson combined with that top line of Brady, Ridley, Gregg, and Claude Giroux, the possession numbers were all in the high 60s. Like they were just dominant. And at the same time, Artem Zub and Jake Sanderson are able to be responsible defensively, but they're also able to be good with the puck that they're able to create and produce offense as well, especially when you got a line like that, Brady, Gregg, and Giroux. All you have to do is play good defensively and let them do the rest of the work, and they're going to get it done more often than not. So Artem Zub, number 2, my second Sen Central standout.
Very solid tonight. I think him and Sanderson, you could pick either one. I thought they both had great games. And Sanderson, so many times he was wheeling behind the net and did like a little stop up, shimmy the forechecker, and then just came out the other side and had clean breakouts. So love to see that from Jake Sanderson as well. So do you want to evade the snake here and give you a second to take another peek at your old look there? And I can go off on my next one, or how would you like to do this? Because you're up if you'd like to take it on the snake style.
Well, you were the one that insisted on having a third one, so I got to think you got one in your back pocket here that you want to get off here. So go ahead.
I've got one in my coat pocket for easier access.
Okay, whip it out.
I've got Vladimir Tarasenko, man. What another good
nice
performance from him. He gets a goal. Like, to me, for him, when he looks good, he's making little plays in the neutral zone too that really just stand out. So I just absolutely loved his game tonight. I've liked him for the last little while too, and the vibe's just great with that line there that he played primarily on tonight with Chartier and Kelly. So I think that when you do move a top 6 guy down to the third line like that, Jacques Martin must be thrilled because that's what he wanted, was to spread out the scoring, and 3 different lines scored for the Ottawa Senators tonight because of it. So I just love what I saw from Vladimir Tarasenko, and I just think he deserves some stick taps in tonight's game.
Yeah, I like it. And anytime you can get 6 different goal scorers, your objective is to spread the offense around. Like you mentioned, they're spreading it around, so you love to see that.
Yeah,
and
plus 3 in only 13 minutes and 10 seconds of ice time.
Hey, that's solid.
Shout out
and-
Bizla, by the way, not watching the game, just watching the Windcast. We love it. And we're calling it the Vibecast for sure.
I was going to say
Ventcast,
how
the Vibecast.
you can't squander the opportunities to join a postcast. We vent or we vibe. We're vibing, beating the Habs 6-2. I mean, we're doing 3 Sen Central standouts for crying out loud. Ross, we could barely scrape together 6 Sen Central standouts throughout the week before this win happened. So it's nice that the Ottawa Senators are giving us an opportunity. Hey, when they're bad, we'll tell it like it is. But when they're good, even if it's just one game, even if it is against the lowly Montreal Canadiens, we'll give them their flowers too. We'll give them the stick taps. So if you're leaving me with Jake Sanderson, Ross, I'll take Jake Sanderson. And a lot of that has to do with things I already mentioned with Artem Zub. Sanderson, 1 assist plus 3 in this game. 2 hits, 4 shots on goal, 23 minutes, a team high 23 minutes. So he's really becoming the steady defenseman that we want to see out here. And whenever him and Zub are out on the ice, I feel relaxed. Like, I feel like they're not going to allow the other team to create a lot of offense, or they're not going to give the puck away with ease. Or if they do, they're going to be able to clean up their mess. They both can rely on each other as partners. So to have Sanderson with the right guy, Artem Zub, it feels great. So I got to go with Sandy as my third Sen Central standout.
Breaking news, Pillsy. Breaking news.
Hit me.
Do you know what we got as a quote? And I can't wait to actually hear Tim Stützle say this, but shout out to Ian Mendez, and also shout out TSN for the little clip I used there as well. Pillsy, I'd like you to read this for us. Tim Stützle tonight.
Tim Stützle, he's been all over me, but I don't really care, to be honest with you. You're up 5-1. There is zero need to fight him. He told me I was scared of him. I see it completely different, but that's fine.
That's Tim Stützle on Brendan Gallagher.
I love that. I mean, he's dead. He's dead on. Like, and look, there's kids watching. If I was a teammate of Brendan Gallagher, I would tell him to smarten up. It's 5-1. You don't need to be trying to cherry pick other team stars like that. It's embarrassing. Good player, but it's embarrassing.
I don't know if he's a good player. Good players don't usually trip over themselves. They don't trip over themselves and give pucks away at their offensive blue line and let them come around for highlight reel goals. And shout out to the Ottawa Senators for diving into that narrative a little bit. Someone asked them on Twitter, said, "Hey, do you mind showing the reverse angle of this? I just want to see what happens at the offensive blue line." And they quote tweeted it with the angle and said, "Just because you asked so nicely." And there at the start of the video is Brendan Gallagher going ass over tea kettle, and away he went.
What a loser.
Yeah, I mean that's a very simplified way of putting it.
Yeah, case closed.
Gallagher's going to be thinking about that quote from weeks. Our guy Bizla says.
Well, he's going to have a chance to see Timmy again Tuesday, not too far from now.
You think something happens?
I mean, Timmy probably gets another 3-point night and embarrasses the Montreal Canadiens and Brendan Gallagher again.
It certainly feels like that right now. And if you look at the stats from tonight's game, penalty kill goes 4 for 4, but the power play goes 0 for 2. The Senators slightly lose the face-off battle 52 to 48%. Ottawa outhits Montreal 21 to 15, and they get the blocks in favor 15 to 12.
Yeah, Ross, I believe my keys to the game were win the power play battle and use strength up the middle to have success. So getting no power play goals and losing the faceoffs didn't work out the way I thought it would. But hey, I'll take a 6-2 win any way you can get it.
I love it. I love beating Montreal. I don't care if Ottawa's in dead last in the standings or not. It's just a nice feeling of, hey, no matter how bad we are, somebody's worse, and it's always Montreal.
Or at least you can beat up on them, regardless of where the standings are. Like 7 straight. Talk about a good sample size.
That rules. I can't wait to hear what Jacques Martin has to say about this game as well. If we are still on, we will get it to you. I'm keeping an eye on Twitter if and when it comes out. Are there any other storylines you feel like we missed so far from tonight's game?
No, not really. I mean, I'll give Corpusalo another kind of chance to have some shine here. not like he stole this game, but like I mentioned, he really struggles when teams don't get a lot of shots. And I thought he wasn't a reason that this could have slipped away, which we've seen, unfortunately, the goaltending be a reason why games slip away and the Sens just can't hold on. So that's a part of the full team effort, the full 60 effort that needs to be there. So I'll give Korpisalo some soft stick taps here, Ross.
Who do you start against the Winnipeg Jets Saturday afternoon?
I think you give it back to Corpy, especially, look, you're the 1A guy, you're getting the big ticket. Unfortunately, Mads had to face the Avs instead of the lowly Habs, so Mads got, that's a lot of tongue twisters there. So Sogard got the much harder opponent. So this weekend, I think you give the Jets to Korpisalo and see if Matt Sogard can get something cooking up against the Flyers. Not that the Flyers are as bad as the Montreal Canadiens. The Flyers have been hot lately, but the Winnipeg Jets are arguably the best team in the league. So you got to give the guy that makes the big bucks the toughest assignments here.
Speaking of Winnipeg, a Winnipegger was noticeably scratched for the first time tonight. We spoke about it in the podcast today on Locked On Senators, but what were your thoughts? What were your thoughts on how it was in actuality on the back end? Did you miss number 23 Beaver tapping for passes in the ozone and firing slap shots who knows where?
I was gonna say I didn't hear his patented Beaver tap. This is one story, our guy Sens fan and fan, that we should talk about. Michael Andlauer, former minority owner of the Montreal Canadiens, now majority owner of the Ottawa Senators. First matchup between the two, and this is the win that you give him in his own barn. That's a nice one for Andlauer. Like, that one's got to feel good.
But did you see what our friend Sens on Reddit said? He quoted this from an RDS interview, talking about saying he has butterflies in his stomach because he can't cheer for his Canadians tonight. That's speaking to the audience.
That's a dash one.
You know you're speaking to, right? The RDS, the Montreal local, but I don't like that. I don't love it. I don't hate it, but I don't love it.
He's still he's used to saying my Canadians. I think that was a slip of the tongue there, or muscle memory there, force of habit. So we'll let him pass on that one, but that can't be happening again. That's a dash one for Andlauer.
Dash one. And what'd you think of this quote from Andlauer as well, describing the Senators, saying, "Les morceaux, the pieces of the puzzle, it no longer fits." Does that makes it sound like there's going to be some major changes?
Well, Ross, I gotta feel like the brain trust up there between Poulin, Steos, and Andlauer, they're really cooking up some big changes. So I do think that's going to happen, and he's not exactly wrong.
More of a summer thing, though, I really do believe.
Yeah. I mean, some pieces will get moved at the deadline, but I think a major thing's going to happen in the summer. That's for sure, especially when they have a better idea of who the legit head coach is going to be moving forward. But I will get back to what we were talking about. No Hamonic in the lineup. Now, JBD did have that soft play on the boards that led to the Habs goal, the first goal, I should say. But he did have a nice shot that I think that led to the Rourke Chartier goal. Yes, yeah, his slap shot gets redirected. Chartier gets the rebound and scores. So overall, not a bad night. I just think we mentioned it, Ross, when Hamonic was signed. I think a lot of Sens Twitter was enraged, and you and I kind of had the approach like, hey, if he's taking the back seat here and he's more of a Nick Holden role where he's going to be your seventh defenseman, this is okay. But the issue is he was not a seventh defenseman kind of veteran extra role. He's been playing in every single game here, often when there was injuries up in the lineup, and that time has passed, unfortunately. So I think there is still a spot for Hamonic on this team, but it can't be as an everyday defenseman. And maybe Jacques Martin is coming to realize that. So I did like the idea of doing that, especially, Ross, with so many games crammed into the schedule moving forward here, except that 1 week in February. You're going to want to rotate some fresh legs in. So I don't mind that as a move at all. And it has success tonight.
It's just the reality of the situation that Travis Hamonic's not an everyday NHLer on a winning team at this point in his career. And there's nothing wrong with that. You need guys who rotate in and out of the lineup. So it's not the last we'll see of Travis Hamonic with the Ottawa Senators, but certainly it wouldn't hurt to go a couple of games and just see what this thing looks like with someone else taken out of the back end, because he was a consistent guy, a guy who had played all 38 games heading into tonight. And now, it was 38 or 39? 39.
Yep.
Tonight was, right? Because then it's 40. Not a math guy right here.
No, I think tonight was the 40th, and they had played 39.
Correct, because they've got one more game before Pinto's back, 41 game suspension. We figured it out. Oh, so I know Michael Andlauer loves his Friday announcements. Are we thinking Shane Pinto contract tomorrow?
I think so. Like, we're getting real close here. And I know there's been talks about long-term deals. Just get the 1 year done and let's move forward from there, because unless I guess you got Forsberg on LTIR, but he's going to come back eventually. They're going to need to move some money around if they give him more than the qualifying offer in the 800s, right? And now, mind you, they're probably going to move on from Tarasenko and or Kubalik anyway, so that's probably going to be fine. But I just think it'd be best for everyone, just sign that qualifying offer and get the ball rolling here.
I love it. I love it. So Winnipeg's going to be a tough one. We'll talk about that, though, tomorrow on Locked On Senators, because that's a Saturday game. We'll preview that. We'll preview the game, the Philadelphia game on Sunday as well. And maybe we'll even get that morning news to wake up to, that Shane Pinto is back. But tonight it's a 6-2 win. Ottawa Senators defeating the Montreal Canadiens at home. A lot of Habs fans there. A lot of Habs fans. And many of them left early.
Yes.
Final thoughts on tonight's game.
Yeah, this was a classic beat the traffic. I mean, holy crap. Martin St. Louis was trying to speed up time, being like, if I pull my goalie, will they run the clock down to a minute left? Is that how that works? Doing it with 8.5 minutes left, just trying to move things along quicker here. But these are the wins you have to be able to get, just so that things don't deteriorate into a full debacle. Now, you're already in debacle territory, but like I mentioned, at this point, it's just about putting stop gaps in the losing skids. And that's a nice one to get at home up against a division rival and a team that realistically, like we said, regardless of where these teams are in the standings, you got to be able to beat this team. So it feels good, Ross. We're feeling good. We don't get to vibe a lot in the postcast, but we are vibing now.
The drive of shame down Highway 50, as our guy Adam Rogers says here. Go Sens, go. My final thoughts on tonight's postcast, and I'm glad that Sanders Season put it in the chat as well, and that is the fact that with his goal and assist tonight, Brady Tkachuk has tied Mark Stone, his old landlord, for 10th on the Senators' all-time points list with 311 points. How many games, Pilsy, if you had to guess? I'm putting you on the trivia clock, and I'm also going to get the chat to be in the mix. How many more or less games did it take Brady Tkachuk to reach 311 points compared to Mark Stone?
33.
You did that too fast. I'm not a math guy, so I was actually going to...
You don't even have the answer yet. Okay, I'm going 33. That's, for some reason, that hit me.
You're such an asshole, dude.
Was it? No, it's not 33. Oh, man. I swear I wasn't looking it up. You can believe me or not. I answered as quick as I could. You didn't see my eyes shifting around, switching tabs. I'm good.
You did very quickly.
Let's go.
Yeah, 366 games for Mark Stone, 399 games for Brady Tkachuk. Here's another good one. Does Brady Tkachuk move past Mike Fisher, who's next on the all-time list this season? So there's 42 games left, and after tonight, Brady Tkachuk is 37 points away. Will he get 37 points in the remaining 42 games?
They play the Habs 3 more times, right?
Yes, they do.
I think he gets it done then.
Yes, they do. And shout out to Quant Hockey. I'll pull this up to let the people see just the Ottawa Senators top 10 all-time point getters. And of course, this is before they add. Oh, I should probably put the guy we're talking about in the mix here. Brady Tkachuk there. And of course, that's before tonight's two are added on. So there's the top 10 tied for top 10 right now in Ottawa Senators points. So let's see how far down we have to go for the next active player. Thomas Chabot, not that far, 239 heading into tonight, and he had no points. Although I actually thought Thomas Chabot played a pretty decent game for the Ottawa Senators tonight. So yeah, there you have it. The Ottawa Senators have a new member of their top 10 in franchise history. Appreciate Anthony. Really, really appreciate that coming in at the there's kids watching here. We know, Ron. We know the kids are watching, and we're hoping to do a good job here doing the Ottawa Senators Vibecast after a 6-2 win. But yeah, Anthony, appreciate you for what you guys do, making this appointment viewing after each and every Ottawa Senators game. We also have an episode coming up tomorrow of Locked On Senators. It's your team every day. No Jacques Martin yet. I think that we figured something out here, Pilsy. The Jacques Martin online media conferences, they come up faster when they're on the road.
Yeah, he's just trying to get out of there.
That has to be what it is. But look, Michael Andlauer, former minority owner of the Montreal Canadiens, he switches sides, and now he's 1-0 against the Habs. So it's good vibes. It's Glebe Central Pub time. And like I said, Glebe Central Pub, we're not just messing around. They are the official pub of the Locked On Senators podcast. And this is a big deal. So make sure you go check out Glebe Central Pub and let them know Locked On Senators sent you. We do always appreciate that. People asking where Martian is. He's got his beer league game. He said he's going to be a complete menace out there on the ice. So I don't know what that means, but seems nerve-wracking if you're opponent of the Bonfires tonight.
Yeah, definitely the Bonfires are hot, and Martian is an animal on the ice, I'm sure.
Oh, I bet. So, just a quick peek at the other side. I'm tap dancing here because I do hope that we can get some audio from Jacques Martin. I do really like reacting to that. But Brendan Gallagher, no points, -1, 14 minutes of ice time, took a penalty. -2 for Caden Gooley. Habs fans been talking really loudly about Caden Gooley. He's the best. And then they get an 861 performance in goal save percentage. And Ottawa's been on the wrong side of that a few times, but away she goes.
Yep. Love it when it works out this way, Ross. Sometimes the good people win.
Sometimes they do, and sometimes they go streaking. Can the Ottawa Senators do that? Maybe by Monday, because this is one on their way to maybe 2 Saturday against Winnipeg Jets team that is 17-2-2 in their last 21 games since December. Pretty good. Get this. The Jets, and we'll talk about this more tomorrow on the show. Obviously, I cover the Jets daily at 680 CJOB in Winnipeg, but this is wild. Rick Bowness, after their win the other night, he goes, "We were good, but not great." And then he goes, "I think my team's tired. I'm giving them 2 days off in a row. I don't want to see them at the rink for 2 days." That's unheard of during a National Hockey League season.
Yeah, I mean, they've earned it.
It's the bonus bowl.
It's the bonus.
Rick Bowness, head coach, Winnipeg Jets.
Yes.
His son, Ryan,
True.
associate general manager for the Winnipeg Jets. So that's Saturday matinee at 3 o'clock Eastern, and then at 1 o'clock Eastern on Sunday, Senators taking on the Flyers. Two really good teams, two surging teams right now in the standing. So it's not going to get any easier. How could it? They just played Montreal. That's as easy as it gets for the Ottawa Senators. It really is. Longest win streak this season has to be 3 games, right?
Yeah.
They haven't won 4 games in a row yet.
No, sir.
And they've only won 3 games in a row twice. The home opener weekend and then the Washington game where that was fun. And then the other 3-game win streak was Calgary at home, then Detroit at in Sweden, and then Minnesota in Sweden.
Yeah. Let's make it 4.
Well, the 4th one would be the free spot on the bingo card. If they can get through Winnipeg and Philadelphia, easier said than done. They got Montreal waiting on the other side.
Run it back.
ironically, I think the Sens have done pretty well against the Atlantic Division as a whole this year, haven't they?
I mean, well for the Sens standards, but in general, yeah, other than the loss up against
Florida.
and Detroit.
Right, but Detroit, they're 2-1 against. Toronto, they're 2-1 against. Montreal, they're 1-0. They're 1-2, I guess, against Buffalo.
They've already played them 3 times. Jeez.
Yeah. Yeah, just recently. Then New Year's Eve, and then near the start of the season. Remember where it was 5-1 and they came back and put lipstick?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was that game as well. So I'd love to go streaky. I'd love for the Senators to find a way to just get 3, 4, 5. Like, we're seeing streaks all across the National Hockey League. Seattle just won 9 in a row. Winnipeg won 8 in a row. Edmonton is on an 11-game winning streak.
Yep.
Calgary's won 4 in a row. That might end tonight. They're losing right now to Toronto, but I mean, they could come back always. So Bizlow's putting it out here. We got 1.8% chance of making playoffs. That doesn't, I don't see any zeros in that number.
No, me neither.
Oh man. All right. We'll catch up on what Jacques Martin has to say after this game and get that to you tomorrow on Locked On Senators. We appreciate you guys so much for being a part of the show. Locked On Senators available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Guys, a 5-star review on Apple with just a quick comment. We did get some spins, Pillsy, some spin comments. So we're going to add those up in a postcast where we've got some extra time. We will go through and do so many spins. It's going to have to be after a depressing loss. Like, we might do just an entire postcast worth of spins. The Sens are down, but they're not out.
Yeah.
But the 5-star reviews, they do go a long way to helping the show grow and getting that algorithm and all the great stuff, because we love the community that we've built here in the chat, and everyone deserves credit for what they do and getting the vibe so great.
Oh, yeah.
So a part of that is then being a friend, telling a friend, because we are the show for fans, by fans here at Locked On Senators. We are saying goodbye after a 6-2 Senators win. Let's say go Sens go in the chat. Sens 6, Montreal 2. It's a Lyndon Sluage night. It's a Jacques Martin milestone victory. He's now all alone in 20th. And get this, Pillsy, he's 2 wins away from tying Brian Murray, the late, great Brian Murray, for 19th on the NHL's all-time wins list. He could do it by the end of the weekend.
Yep.
He could. But Willie, we'll discuss tomorrow on Locked On Senators. For Brandon Piller, I'm Ross Levitan. This has been another edition of the Postcast presented by the Locked On Senators podcast and the Glebe Central Pub. Check out the Glebe Central Pub right in the heart of the Glebe. Great food, tasty drinks, awesome vibes, and the Sens Shuttle, $17 to and from the CTC. Let's get out of here to some danger flutes. Have a great night, everyone. We'll chat tomorrow on the Locked On Senators podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.